For this episode of Leading Lives, here from the login in Dorset, I'm joined by pool-based entrepreneur Rob Eaton. Rob's had more than his fair share of struggles in his life, but he's turned those into positives. Let's hear his amazing story. Hello, Rob.
Hi.
So let's start with your background.
Well, I'm a pool born and bred, as you said. I went to school at Corfe Hills, then I left there and went off and joined the Royal Marines.
That's an amazing career that not everybody can achieve, of course, Rob. And what made you want to join the Marines?
At the school they had the old careers office, and there was a picture of this guy um pulling a canoe and looked really warrior. And I thought, that's me. And several of the other guys wanted to give it a go, and some of them made it, some of them didn't. And it was the challenge. I was up for it.
How did you get on with basic training?
It was incredibly hard. Got injured going through, so I didn't do it in one hit. But when you split your shin and end up in a plaster cast, you invariably can't continue with the guys you joined with.
Oh,
However,
come on, Rob. I've heard Marines get up and carry on. What was the matter with
yeah.
you?
Well, apparently not enough briefing that day. Joking aside, it was incredibly hard. I managed to get through. A lot of really incredible guys couldn't get through, and the training team were brilliant. The people around me were brilliant. My brothers in arms, and we created some lifelong friendships.
So you're in the Marines, what, full term, were you?
Yeah, I did 22 years.
And where were you based?
I've been all over, down in Plymouth, up in Scotland. I spent 2 years on the Grey Funnel Line, HMS Intrepid. We worked out of 539, which is the assault squadron back in the day, down in Plymouth, sailing two of the landing craft from Plymouth to Harstad, northern Norway, which was that was an adventure. And I spent a lot of time here at Poole.
Of course, towards the end of your time in the Marines, you met a man who'd become a very important friend
Yeah,
and an inspiration in your life. Tell me about him.
but Mr. Robert Braithwaite, an amazing guy, founder of Sunseeker International, and I got to know him as a result of a charity event. We plan was to raise some money for the telethon 1990, and I came up with a good idea it'd be a nice idea to push a 4.5 ton Hawk 27 from Poole to TVS Studios in Southampton. 14 Royal Marines, 14 Sunseeker lads, and we achieved it. And Robert met us in the middle. We had a bit of a barbecue, had a chat, became good friends, and the money we raised he doubled. So it was a fantastic bloke.
After leaving the Marines, tell me what you did next,
Well,
charity-wise.
my mum is profoundly deaf. My dad is a right arm amputee and diabetic. They're no longer with us, sadly. So I've lived with disability my whole life, and just wanted to do something different rather than leave the services, go off and get into security type work. I thought I'd work with profoundly deaf and disabled young people and other disabilities and try and open doorways. So I talked Robert into providing disability access at the Southampton and London boat shows in 2006, and we helped train mechanics, upholsterers, and body shop guys as part of the job we were doing. So there's a lot of young people out there with skills they wouldn't have had it not been for the work we were doing.
In October 2009, you faced great tragedy. What happened?
That's the day my son died. Ryan, he Ryan had vascular Ehlers-Danlos, same as his mum. You just He was never supposed to be born. Debbie was never supposed to survive the operation. She had to go into Southampton, Princess Anne Hospital up in Southampton, 3 months prior to having Ryan. Had him by caesarean section, and I can still see the surgeon's face telling me I'm just about to watch my wife die. And I was lucky enough to go into theatre because the expectation was she wasn't coming out, and she just wanted to see her son before she died. Luckily, they unzipped Debbie, popped Ryan out, and he weed all over the surgeon's chest, and it was a not today, mate.
So I know we've spoken about this before, and your take on the situation is that you didn't so much lose Ryan, but you had him.
I am a very lucky guy, and that's, if your son's died, how can I say I'm lucky? Well, my wife didn't die. I had 17 and a half wonderful years. Um, a lot of people don't get that. So you've got to be grateful for what you're given in this world. And, glass half full or glass half empty. Well, I choose for it to be half full. And, yeah.
The tragic loss of Ryan was just the start, though, wasn't it? Your birthday's coming up soon, Rob,
Or
but one birthday.
not my favourite day. 12th of November 2011. It should be a great day. Debbie's splenic artery ruptured. No reason. It just popped, and that's one of the problems with this condition is spontaneous rupture, big organs. Ryan died from an aortic dissection. Debbie's splenic artery just ruptured. I get her to Poole Hospital, which was a bit of a miracle. Her BP was 30-0, so if you know anything about blood pressure, you know she was in deep doo-doo. And that's the day I met a guy named Professor Tassin Qureshi, Taz, who he's just amazing.
How did you actually deal with that day?
You, to be honest, military training steps in. So the emotion gets taken out of the equation, and you just go into, ABC, airway, breathing, circulation, maintain an airway, keep the blood in the core, get her to hospital as fast as humanly possible, and then watch the operating doors close, put her in the hands of an amazing guy, and pray.
You mentioned Professor Qureshi. He was, in fact, a guest on this podcast last week. We were talking about his humanitarian work in Gaza.
Yeah, and I fully support that.
Yeah, it's really a story not to be missed, actually.
It is amazing.
This led to a continuing friendship with Taz, hasn't it?
When I get Debbie back a month later from ITU as it was back then, I just say thank you. And I've lost my son. My wife came back to me when I wasn't expecting her to come back, and so I raised some money. And there you go, Taz, for your research. And we start talking about robotic surgery. He goes all over the world teaching and training. Humanitarian aid is an element of what this guy does. We are so blessed to have him in our community. It's unbelievable. I know that from first-hand experience. So we raised the money. We start talking about robotic surgery. And so I said, where's the effect? How about we bring it to Poole? Take the 10,000, go for 100 to a million. Let's lease it, bring it to Poole. Taz looked at me like I was a bit, are you for real? But the reality is, fail, I give you money, success, we get a robot. And so we started on that pathway. And
Robert Braithwaite continued as a big part of that.
Oh, Robert's a huge part of it. So fate, whatever, luck, whatever. But 2013, Robert needs bowel cancer surgery. Obviously an incredibly wealthy man, and he's going to choose the best. He could have gone anywhere on the planet to pick a surgeon, and who did he choose? Professor Qureshi. I know that's why, because my wife is alive today because of the skill of that man. And for Robert to choose Taz, it's not it's no mystery to me. He is brilliant. So Taz looked after Robert. Robert came to find out about the project, and in 2015, October 2015, he wrote a cheque out for £3.4 million. There's a Da Vinci robot, sits in Poole Hospital, and I'm claiming that as my wife's fault.
It's an amazing gift to Poole Hospital and the people of the area, isn't it?
It is an amazing gift to the people of Poole. And the future is robotics, but it's the how we get to that future. You just can't you pick these surgeons off the shelf. We have to give them the best possible training with the best possible equipment so that they can provide us with the best possible care.
Sadly, Robert Braithwaite is no longer with us, but of course his legacy lives on.
Well, yes, it does. London Boat Show 2017, we launched RB Project Q, Robert Braithwaite, Project Qureshi, and it's a homage to my friends, because both are my friends.
And we're going to come on to Project Q in a bit more detail in a few moments. But in 2020, we were all hit with the hammer in the form of the pandemic, of course. But you came up with a novel idea, didn't you?
Yeah,
what did you do?
Yeah, the uniform may have come off, but service never ends. We swore an oath to the Queen and country, and that goes on for His Majesty as well. Lockdown kicked off. My brother-in-law had literally just moved down. He's a chef.
This is Mark.
That's Uncle Mark, yeah. And the plan was he comes down. We were going to do some outside catering because I love cooking, and that obviously smashed on the head with COVID. But need to help people, so we turned our storage trailer into a catering van, and we started feeding people through lockdown. I think we did about 2,000 meals over the lockdown period.
And that became the place it is now, which is Rob's Filling Station, isn't it?
It turned into Rob's Filling Station.
Now, I've got to be honest, Rob, it's the sort of place, if any of you ever see it, you drive by it because you wouldn't stop. But I've got to say, unless you're in the know, and then you would stop. I've been for breakfast a few times and Sunday lunch a few times as well. Believe me, it's fabulous food there.
Thank you
Great
very
team of
much.
people. And I'm told you do pizza nights too. That
Oh,
wouldn't
we do.
appeal to me, though.
Uh, well, the thing is, we do. So Mondays and Tuesdays is our days off. Got to have a bit of downtime. That's admin time. We do Wednesday through to Sunday, and on a Friday and Saturday night we flip it into a restaurant. So normal breakfast, then into a restaurant. So pizzas, seafood, steaks. Because Uncle Mark is pretty brilliant. But
He
don't tell him
is. He
that.
definitely
Don't
is.
tell him.
Yeah.
Then on a Sunday we do the breakfast. We flip at midday to 1 o'clock. We turn it into the restaurant again and do a Sunday roast.
I think it's important to mention also that most of the stuff you get is local ingredients,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
we try and, absolutely. For example, our Corfmelon eggs. Lily is a veteran. We source our stuff from Lily because we're supporting veterans.
Yeah, I can say that the sausages are to die for.
Oh,
They're wonderful, but you can only have one
yeah.
because two will just fill you up too much. Um, I should also mention Megan as well, who serves there
Oh,
because
Megan, she's a
Megan,
darling.
she's always got a smile on her face, and hopefully she'll watch this podcast and she'll think, "Ah, well done, Chris. Everybody else forgets me."
Well, the thing is, the whole thing's about supporting our community.
Yeah,
Now, Megan came to us as a result of her mum coming over chat and saying, my daughter's looking for a job. Single mum. She's had a rough ride, but this girl has come from a not great position, but to a very she's had the support and the love from the RFS team. We've got her into a position where now she could go anywhere and do herself proud. But I'm not going to let her go anywhere. Obviously, don't tell her that. But she's fantastic. She's got loads of confidence. She's got loads of capability. She's great with customers, and she's got a brighter future. And that's what this is all about. It's giving, uh, intervening at the right time to give a better future. You can go left or you can go right. Well, we want to keep taking people right and giving them a brighter future.
and Mark as well. We've mentioned his
Yeah.
name. He's a fabulous chef, isn't
Oh,
he?
he's bonkers. He's bonkers. I mean, but Mark's spent a lifetime teaching and training. He's had his fair share of ups and downs. And when he came down, it was as a result of a situation breakdown. Came down with a shot on his back, basically. Now he's running one of the best restaurants in town, and the future is bright.
Yeah, the reviews. They're quite amazing, aren't they?
I mean, a tent in a car park being number one on TripAdvisor. What's that all about?
It's richly deserved, though,
Thank you very
Rob.
much.
Yeah, it richly is. Really is. So, Project Q. Let's talk about that. It's a real passion of yours, isn't it?
It is, well, it is a passion of mine because we can do so much with it, and it's really, really important. This is 13 years of my life, not just my life. It's Professor Qureshi. Taz has been, we've been hand in glove on this one. We want to build something for the benefit of the community. Now,
What is it that you're going to build?
I'm going to build an enterprise and innovation centre for teaching and training of laparoscopic and robotic surgery here in Poole, and there is an associated medical training and technologies and support element to that. So we can teach and train surgeons, we can teach and train the operating theatre staff, we can introduce children to robotics, engineering, all aspects of the AV, the AI. The future is bringing young people into this, but at the moment the country, according to the Royal College of Surgeons, the statistics are 1 in 3 surgeons are getting the required training and literacy to do robotic surgery in their consultant practice. That's the Royal College of Surgeons. I know that because I sat down with the president and the CEO 20th of April last year, told them about Project Q and what we were hoping to do, and they were on board. If we can make this happen, they are on board to help us drive it forward.
It sounds expensive. How much is it going to cost to put it together?
Well, we're not. There's two elements to this. The building has got to go up first, so that's circa between £4 and £6 million. Sounds like a lot of money, but please try and buy a house on Sandbanks. So actually, it's not a lot of money. Then we bring in the companies, the robotics companies. That's when it starts to run into millions of pounds. And it sounds, wow, millions, but robotic surgery was 3.4 million when Robert bought it back in 2015. How many people has that robot saved? How many people has that robot looked after? What is the value of a life?
How can people help you try and raise these funds?
Okay. Well, the biggest thing is getting on board. One person gives me a tenner, tells 10 of their friends who give me a tenner, tells 10 of their friends, tells 10 of their friends. That goes through 6 cycles, job done. We've got £10 million in the bank, we're off and running. It's not about the money. It's about the person before the pound for me. Bear in mind, who do I leave this to? My son's gone. My plan is to leave this as a legacy to the community. So I'm putting £1 million on the table, basically. My money is where my mouth is. If we can get enough people behind this, the value of the building is there. So an investor comes along, I want to look after my money. Well, it's going to go up in value, definitely not down. But that's the easy bit. The next bit's the hard bit.
It's also not about the profits, is it?
No.
It's about what it gives to the community, isn't it?
Well, if we, just imagine we train one surgeon let me just take that one step further. Part of what we want to do, Project Q, is teaching and training of doctors. 27th of February last year, 2023, my wife had another incident. She had a mediastinal and intercostal arterial bleed, like she'd just been shot in the chest. I get her to Bournemouth Hospital, so she's bleeding internally, and the doctor that had sorted out her protocol, got the tranexamic acid into her, saved her life. His name was Usama Qureshi. One of the doctors we trained, Taz's son. So Dad saves a life on my birthday. His son saved a life on my son's birthday.
Wow, I didn't know that actually, Rob. So
there you go.
That's an incredible story, isn't it?
Tell me I've got any choice in what we're doing here.
Yeah, this is true. I think it's hard to argue against that.
Yeah.
The site of the new build it's a site you already own, isn't
yes.
it? Just for clarity there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's thanks to a lady by the name of Barbara Taylor. She'll hate me for that, but I wouldn't have this site if it wasn't for her vision. Like Robert Braithwaite, man of vision. Trusting in people to do what they say they're going to do.
Tell me about Barbara. Who is Barbara?
Barbara, the business that was on the site was run by her husband. And sadly, he passed away on the site, which is sad, but not, because it was his life. And I saw Barbara about a year afterwards, showed her what we were doing, what the plan was, and we struggled to get a mortgage, so she loaned me the money. Not loaned me. She allowed me to pay her directly, excluding banks. Who does that?
Yeah, incredible.
It's amazing, lady. Amazing lady.
Yeah. So Project Q, you're well on the way to raising your funds for that. It's going well.
The demolition's done, so we are marching on.
Yep. And meanwhile, the filling station is on the site, of course, and it's currently a tent, which I'm sure that Rob's military skills came into the build of that. Is that right? Yeah.
Tent in a car park, been through all the weather, has withstood all the the hurricanes and everything we've been through over the last few years. Hasn't come down.
There's been a couple of occasions when I've gone in there and it's been pouring with rain, and I'm thinking, I'm going to get soaked here. And you get a little dribble in the corner, but hey, that's all part of the fun, isn't it?
It is. I mean, if you look at, we've had days when I've been paddling, yes, but we don't charge when we put the bubble bath in.
Yeah. What do the locals say about the facility?
Everyone loves it, and they love the vision of what we're trying to achieve. The community support is, when we put through planning permission, there were no complaints. Everyone was supportive. It was lovely.
Project Q is part of the new new build.
Yeah.
There's also something called the Stronghold. Tell me about the Stronghold.
If I grab your hand, that's a stronghold. I won't let go of it until your feet are back underneath you. And that's the idea of the Stronghold. Veterans and cancer patients, predominantly at this moment in time, we've got a mobile unit there, and in the new build, there's going to be an element that's a Stronghold, providing mental health support for veterans and cancer patients, guidance pre-op, post-op, with an enhanced recovery program, helping people get back on their feet, housing, benefits, employment, linking with the BCP, with the Dorset Armed Forces business networking group, so that we are using all the assets and using the strengths and skills we have as military personnel and former military personnel to make our community stronger.
being from a Marines background, you'll be fully aware of TRIM and trauma
Yeah,
risk management, and that's a big part of the Marines' life,
it
isn't it?
was. It,
Yeah.
it was. I mean, I was involved with that trim training when it initially started, way back when. We've got a lady. Her name's Stephanie Stockley. She's done 10 years. 10 years with SAFA and the Royal Marines Association, and she is my lead in the stronghold. It's operational now. We are helping people now. So we're not waiting till the bill go up. We are actually facilitating support right now.
What kind of support is that?
I'll give you an example. A friend of mine has terminal cancer. He's guardian of a young lady. I'm not going to go any further than that. She's had what's called an AVM, arterial venal malformation. So she's got left side weakness, um, epileptic symptoms, and she was using a crutch, confidence poor. We've worked with the Bayside Fitness Centre. Mr. Gareth Sherwood, Dr. Gareth Sherwood, has helped us with this concept and getting her building her confidence. She's no longer using a crutch. She's been independently shopping. Her confidence is going through the roof. A long way to go, but if we can do that for one person, we can do that for many.
Have you had military personnel that you've been able to help?
Yeah, yeah.
Give me an example without naming a name.
Let's say Wags and Woofs. Really lovely guy. He's built like a brick blooming outhouse. He's huge. He's lovely. And he's been involved with us. Been involved with Steph for a long time, and he basically has it's help him keeping his feet underneath him. He's helping us. So the things we've developed have basically been helped by this young man, and he's in a better place, and it's getting better all the time. So I'm very proud of that. We had Tim, who was Cold Dip Commando. He was on site. We had a little coffee shop set up for him. The idea was he wanted to run a coffee shop while he was going through chemo. I facilitated that, so we didn't serve teas and coffees. We didn't charge any rent. We didn't charge any. There was no bills. It was because obviously when you go through chemo, it's very difficult to earn money because you don't know if you're going to be able to get out of bed or not. So Tim was there for about 12 months, and when he gave me it back, so sorry, Rob, I've got to go back to work now. It's like, yes. Unfortunately, his chemo battle has continued, but hopefully we were part of the positivity that helped him move on to the next phase.
I can see in your face, it gives you such a buzz and a reason to be, doesn't it?
Try buying a smile.
Yeah, good point.
That's it. Try buying a smile.
Yeah.
And just how good does that make you feel when you put a smile on somebody's face?
You're full of one-liners.
But it's the truth, mate. You honestly, you like working on the at the boat shows for Robert. You're helping people, and it's a buzz all day long.
When the new build is completed, how do you see it? You've got obviously a few floors.
Okay.
Tell me what's going to go where.
The restaurant ground floor, so it's open and available to the community, so everybody gets to know what's going on. Behind the ground floor, we have the stronghold, so you can have a cup of tea if you need some help. We can signpost you into getting some help, and then from there on, the middle floor is 4 R&D training suites, so we can run different robotics courses. We can run advanced trauma life support courses. And it's going to be a flexible space because the robotics is flexible. We can have different platforms. So you've got Da Vinci, you've got CMR Surgical, you've got Medtronic. So we can have different platforms. I mean, these are concepts at the moment. How it's going to develop, I'm not exactly sure, but we have a plan. We have the Royal College of Surgeons come on board and guide us as to what's needed. So we actually target what is really needed for the country. Top floor, lecture theatre, classrooms, offices, roof space, and I'd like to roof garden the whole thing so you've got calm space so we can, work hard, go and rest. And again, beautiful view of Holles Bay.
So the restaurant, you say ground floor.
Yeah.
What about the character of Rob's filling station and what it's all about? How are you going to maintain that?
That cannot change. That's part of my. The openness, the friendliness, the home feel, that won't change. We want to keep the open plan kitchen so that people can engage. We want to use it as a training space so we can, help young people give apprenticeships and routes to market through us, so we can continue doing the work we're doing and support the whole facility.
If you look at the economy now, just as a whole, moving away from Project Q, but just trying to get running a restaurant these days. I mean, it's an incredibly difficult thing,
Oh,
isn't it?
massively. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you've built up a loyal following. As I said, I've been there a few times, and I've seen the same people coming in as well, and it's always full,
Yeah.
always. How difficult is it running your restaurant at the
It's
moment?
incredibly difficult. I mean, we want to pay our staff the top wages. We want to, give all you can. You want to give ways we've kept the cost down for our customers is bring your own wine and beer. So rather than having a large bill with a wine bill on top of it, you bring your own bottle of wine, which you've purchased at a local off-license supermarket, whatever. Well, the cost saving to the individual can be, if you've got a table of four and you have a couple of glasses of wine, it makes a difference. We
Yeah.
keep our costs as tight as we possibly can. We get people to book ahead for their meat choices so that we're reducing our wastage. And if the leftovers, well, we all get a dinner, and so does Alan and Steve. Alan, Alan is our resident tester, but he has schizophrenia. Steve, his brother, who does a little bit of valeting for me, he does our washing up and tidying up, but he's looking after his brother. So by providing meals for him, we're helping his brother as well.
Now, which do you think is the highlight day of the week at Rob's Filling Station?
Oh man, God, it's got to be Sundays at the moment because the banter with our Sunday roast people, I mean,
I've seen it.
it's just lovely. It's just lovely,
Yeah.
and you get what also you get people talking to each other. So table A and table B, they start chatting and well, would you like a glass of wine? It's you don't see it in other places. No disrespect intended to other places, but we are different.
You've had a few surprise visitors there as well, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, bonkers last year. Had a gentleman caught me right out. I mean, proper sucker punch me. So I've told this gentleman the story about Debbie and Ryan and what the plan are, and he offered support. And then he drops his name as Gwyn Jenkins. I'm like, Gwyn Jenkins, I'm retired, but the hairs go up on the back of your neck. Then he adds in the General Gwyn Jenkins, the Vice Chief of the Defence Staff, and you could have seen my jaw hit the floor. It was, Uncle Mark was laughing his socks off, and people around because I was completely gobsmacked, completely sideswiped, but amazing. I mean, we got people of that calibre turning up, and then others like that.
All of this talk of food is making me a bit hungry, Rob. I'm going to have to go soon, but you know, if you'd like to get in touch with Rob, do contact him. Go, or better still, pop on down to the filling station, get yourself a meal. Breakfast or Sunday lunch for me. I'm not so sure about pizza because that's not my thing. But I'm told everybody has fun on is it Friday and Saturday?
Friday
please?
and Saturday night,
Yeah.
but it's pizzas, steaks, and seafood. He does a mean evening.
Yeah. Seriously good food, supporting a worthy cause, and it's incredibly reasonable price, I've got to say. Local businesses are also getting a help, which I like to see. Robin and his team, they're going to be glad to see you. So as I said, all of this has made me feeling a bit hungry. So thanks for coming in, Rob, and I wish you all of the best. And hopefully we'll be seeing the new building up in the not too distant future.
Thank you very much, and thank you for doing this for us.
Thanks for coming in, Rob. Next time on the Leading Lives podcast by Hallmark Productions here at the Login, we're going to be joined by Martin Edwards. Martin is the CEO of Dorset-based children's hospice Julia's House, so look out for that one coming soon.